Hi, I'm Mindy. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing my wrap up for the first half of November. I am pretty behind in filming and editing this month. So yes, this is for the first half of November, even though it's close to the end of November now. The first 2 weeks, I managed to read 3 books and watch 2 movies. I'm going to talk about those now. The first book that I finished in November was Demon in White by Christopher Ruocchio, the third book in the Sun Eater series, and this is one of my favorite series of all time, and this is my favorite book of the year so far. Can something beat it in November or December? I am not sure about that. I'm thinking no. But yeah, Demon in White is a big book. Over 700 pages. This series is told in first person from our main character, Hadrian Marlowe, and how he came to be the Sun Eater, destroy a sun, and why, how it all came to be. And it is a fascinating story, and he definitely grows and changes throughout this series, and this is a fascinating series. This is a science fiction series. I thought it started off more like sci-fantasy, but now in each book the science fiction elements become more and more, and wow, it is so interesting. Intergalactic wars and technology. And this is not the only Sun Eater book that I read this month. I read one other, which is book 2.5, Queen Amid Ashes as well. I listened to the audiobook. This one was just a novella that takes place between the second book and this one. I listened to it after I finished this one, because I thought I should squeeze it in before reading the fourth book. I'll get too far behind. And I like this novella more than the other novella I read in this story, because this one actually follows our main characters and what they did after the events of book 2. It was a good story, and with novellas, they just don't have as much epic content as the giant behemoth ones, but still a really great story, and I gave it 4 stars. The last book that I finished in the first half of November was for my book club. That's Our Own Unique Affliction by Scott J. Moses, and this is a tiny little vampire novella. It is super dark, melancholy, focusing on just how tough it is to live as a vampire, kind of outside of the human experience, but wanting that kind of life that humans have. And it was interesting. It's interesting, like, this life they set up for themselves, how they live. They rely on humans, truck drivers that bring them around the country to different places. I did like this a lot. There was a section in it that was kind of, I don't know how to explain it, hallucinatory or fever dream like. I don't like that as much because it gets a little confusing, but I was able to keep the thread of what was going on, and you know, the situation warranted that kind of writing. But I gave this one 4 stars. It was a very good character study of a vampire with a little tiny things that made it kind of stand out, unique from other vampire stories I've read. So 4 stars for that one. I also watched 2 movies in the first half of November. The first one, I went to the theater and saw Predator Badlands. And that's a movie from Dan Trachtenberg. I thought it was a little bit, for my taste, a little bit too high on the action and a little bit too high on the CGI. But it was another great character study. I didn't mind the story at all. Thought it was a fun movie, but I just wish we could do some more practical effects. Like, I really, really do. I don't know how they would do the creatures and everything in this movie with practical effects, but they found a way back in the day. And I loved those movies. Anyway, that's just me on my soapbox of not liking CGI so much. But I did enjoy the story, and I gave it 3.5 stars. And I also watched Frankenstein, the new adaptation by Guillermo del Toro. And I watched this as a group watch with my friend Travis and friends. I thought, although it does deviate from the book quite a bit, I thought it captured the ideas of the book really well. Like any other movies that I really have seen with Frankenstein, they were like not even close. Not even close to the book. So this one, pretty good. Loved the creature, loved the acting, loved the sets the most, and the costumes. Everything was so grand and wonderful. Really just such a great movie. And I thought the pacing was a little uneven at times. It slowed down quite a bit, and then it would get very exciting again. I don't know. That's okay though. Slow's fine. I gave that one 3.5 stars as well. That's everything I read and watched in the first half of November. Let me know if you've read or watched any of these. What did you think of them? And I'll be back very soon with another book-related video. Thanks. Bye.